There we go. Just a little bit of clear gel and white here on the sky and water area. As you can see, I've got just a basic sketch today, nothing too big of a deal. Just a little riverbed and some trees. I could probably just do this without a sketch. I've done so many riverbeds and trees, but it's good to sketch. So sketched it with my little filbert brush with just charcoal gray. It just eliminates having to use a charcoal pencil. All right, now right up here, I'm going to take a little bit of our yellow, white. I just want a golden, kind of a golden hue back up in this area. This just, you're really not going to notice this much. Just enough it's going to look like it's burning through the trees. The sunlight, that is. What's burning through? The sunlight. The sunlight's burning through the trees there. Because we're looking, for kind of a misty effect, you can actually just take this little bit and run it across and call it good. There's already white paint on there. It's not like it's raw canvas or anything. So there you go. Now I've got a little bit of a dark green mixed up here. I'm going to place this right here by tapping right here and begin to make a little tree. This is a quick and easy way. If this is the kind of tree that you want, this is an easy way to make it. I'm going to begin with this color, and I will transition to a darker color yet. I called this a dark green. It's really not. It's kind of a light green, but it works. It totally works. And I don't want it all to be kind of this vivid yellow. Very quickly, I want to transition into some more cool green colors. I think that'll be very nice for the painting. I'm going to leave little holes in this tree background area, and that'll end up kind of looking like mist, or you can just see the sky through there. That's important. Hey, before we go too far, let's take a look at the paintings that you guys did of my last one. It was always fun to see them, so definitely do your version of this and share it using the information there on the screen. And if I see it in time, I will get it in the next video, and everybody will get to see it, and it'll be a lot of fun. So there you go. There you go. Excellent. It is fun, and I enjoy seeing your version. I look at each and every one. It's really, really neat. I really do think it's going to be beneficial, and I'm just going to do my best to not forget to just continue to pull these colors down. If anything's going on up here, I'm just going to pull it down in to the water. It's going to make it a little bit easier. Don't go too far down. We do have rocks. You're going to see some shallow rocks up in this area, but at least for this background section, I'm going to sort of begin to pull down some of this color. So there, good. All right, clean brush. And begin to tap. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just tap, working on these edges. See that? Just work out the edges and soften and blend. Now we'll probably go ahead and brighten this area, actually using a shop towel, removing some paint. I'll show you to do that in a minute, so don't worry too much about the center. But right here where these trees begin to meet the center, there we do want to have some softness. I'm just tapping it in. I'm not brushing it necessarily, although that'd probably be all right. I'm just tapping it to begin with here. My brush is getting clogged. I don't want to paint. I just want to blend. So it began to paint. So then you stop and you wipe it off. Stop and wipe it off. And check this out. You get a little mist right there. See? Subtle. So now I've got a shop towel. I would not suggest doing this with anything else. Maybe a rag would be okay, but certainly not a paper towel. I've learned from experience, so you don't have to. A nice cotton rag might work, I guess, but these are so easy. Just these blue shop towels. You get them in the automotive section. So there you go. So I'm rubbing vertically. Why vertically? Well, you wouldn't have to do vertically. You don't have to do vertically, but it just helps. It helps to kind of give the feeling of trees in the background, tree trunks or whatever, How many of us, me too, probably, when I'm learning to paint, would have glopped on more, I want it brighter, I'm going to glop on more white. No, see, look how much better it is if you don't glop on more white and if you just rely on removing paint. Look at that. Now, one thing we can do, might want to do, is some subtle sun rays with the shop towel itself, just by dragging through. Again, I'm not painting, I'm removing paint. How cool is that? That is so easy. Good luck mixing mud. You can't mix mud here because you're taking the paint away. You're not putting the paint on. This is good stuff. I'm going to take a little white and yellow now. This might seem a little bright. we're going right here. But I just want to go ahead and get in my bright spots. That way I know that they're there. I can always, add my shadows on top. This is kind of a backlit situation, so it's, it makes sense you would work kind of backwards in a backlit situation. Yeah, it makes sense to me, at least. There you go. Get in some of these little bushes, just a corner of the 1-inch brush, kind of old-fashioned corner of the 1-inch brush. It works for this sort of thing, doesn't it? As we work backward, obviously very quickly, it would become darker. So just pull some of the yellow ochre right into that mess that we had before, and then it just gets darker. This is not very far away, so it's okay to start adding some red even back up here if you want to. Little red. And place some of that up in here. Excellent. Now this is obviously, we're gonna need more shadows. This is just the highlight or mid-tones or just color at this point, just color. Close your eyes, throw it in, it'll come out fine. So I'm gonna pull in some actual tree trunks now. Just quickly with the filbert brush, nothing too crazy. Not gonna go too large or anything like that here. I think that works. So often when we do background trees, you can quickly go and make them too symmetrical. So I'm gonna be very careful not to do that. They're actually a little darker. Sometimes you might expect, I would start out with a tree that was extremely pale and then come forward and forward, but that's not really this painting today. It jumps pretty well quick into darker trees, and with only just a few of these lighter trees. That's just the way it is today. Let's see, that's good. I don't want to overcrowd it. Maybe just another little one right in there somewhere. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe put that back over. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. You can do whatever. Okay, so let's leave that for now. Mess around more with that later if we want to. Right back up in here, I do want a couple of more trees. Again, a couple leaning there, and then maybe one like so. Mostly trees. I like that. It needs a lot of trees. Got a little 1/4-inch brush. I'm gonna load it up with some brown and black. A little red just for the sake of having a little red in it. And right back here, I'd like to create a fallen tree of some kind. Just like that. And, well, we'll do some of that maybe with the detail brush. But just like this, kind of give it an interesting look there. And obviously we'll put some grass and so on up under that. Let me get a detail brush real quick. And what we can do with this detail brush is just bring in a couple of these branches. You could do this at the very end with a liner brush, but don't do it with a liner brush if you're gonna do it right now, because that would cause slippery paint issues, and nobody likes slippery paint issues. Not a lot of fun. Let me tell you something useful. When you do this, make sure that you have a lot of bumps and wiggles and natural looking branches. It's so easy to get out here and do wormies, but you want a lot of bumps and wiggles and quick changes of direction and so on. And it'll be just a little bit more interesting. How about another little wild looking tree right here? Why not? I've just been doing a lot of repetitive leaf work, and I'm finally kind of getting to the point where I can at least lay on a little bit of an accent highlight. It just helps sprinkle, just a bunch of green leaves, just a tremendous amount of comma strokes. I say, maybe the only secret here, if you could even call it that, is just, it's slowing down, honestly. Taking your time, maybe get a cup of coffee or something and just enjoy painting leaves, because you're going to be here a little while doing it this way. Now you could tap them on if you don't want to do it this way. There's other ways you can do it, but I just think this probably is a really nice way to do it, and a good use of your time. This only works, of course, if you limit the paint in the background. If you got a whole bunch of thick, wet paint in the background, this isn't going to work. Don't bother. You need to stop and wipe the canvas before you do something like this. All these details. So anyway, there you go. So now I'm working in here just a couple of rock highlights. Lights coming through like this. That's pretty straightforward. Just put a highlight on the top and then the left side of the rock. That one may need to be more in the shadow, but we can actually add shadows back over these. It's probably good to just get the Give little highlights underpainted at least, and then probably add more highlight, you know. We're not just locked in here, but what we do need is to get the canvas covered and get some of these rocks at least established. It'll make a big difference in, you know, trying to get the painting worked out. There, cool it down just a little. Too much warmth in the shadow. Put a little coolness in the shadow, that'll look better. Good enough. We'll probably add darker shadows too. This is just a mid-tone, but if you get your painting sort of going together here with, get it working with the underpainting. Does that make sense? You know, don't just block this all in brown or something and then try to build your rocks out of it. Rather than doing that, I'm working in my details in the mid-tone, so all I have to do is put a little highlight, put a little shadow, and I'm done. It's easier that way. So there you go. Now I'm going to put in some amount of shadow here. This seems a little odd. This is just, I put a little more color in the water just and kind of blended it again. Kind of stopped working on my water, so I had to go back and fill in. It's a little bit like a cobblestone road in that, you know, your shapes are actually larger. Now right in here, I've got kind of a highlight spot, so I'm not so worried about that. But your shapes are fairly large here, and then they get smaller as they go back. But watch this. So I've got that in there, just the shadow. Rather, you could highlight that, but rather than doing that, let's take a shop towel instead. Why do it this way? Well, the big reason why is because I don't want to create mud. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to then wipe off my rocks. And see, I can put more things over that. I can put ripples and stuff, but at least rather than highlighting my rocks, I'm removing paint. There's one less layer of paint I have to worry about being on here and getting slippery. And actually, that's pretty good. See how that brings in a little texture? Almost looks like something, and all I'm doing is just wiping the canvas. See, that almost looks like you can see those rocks in there. You can go back and add more shadow, which I think I will after I establish some of these rocks. There, just finishing up a few more details on the rocks. Just spent a few more minutes adding color. It's really, I didn't do a whole lot other than just add in, as you can see, quite a few colors. If you don't have color, see, I'm just kind of bouncing around purples, reds, oranges, golds, greens, everything. Everything you could think to put in, you need to put in the foreground. It will bring your attention, you know, to this area. And I think this is really kind of a pretty area. And in this area too, kind of like that. Very nice. Very nice. Wouldn't hurt to get just a little, even just a couple of touches of brighter yellow. There's a lot of yellow here. You know, you need some here. There's some gold there. Some gold here. You can bounce and sprinkle, you know, take some of that, but you know what I mean. There. So anyway, that looks about, to me, about right. I want to just place in some amount of grass, 1-inch brush actually, just throw it in. There we go. A little bit of highlight, call it good. Wipe that off, get some shadow, just a little of this and a little of that, and just throw it in. Good enough. Where's my little quarter brush? And let's go ahead and just begin to place in a couple more stones here. These are a little bit more in the shadow, so I'm going to use shadowy colors on them, but it's important that you go ahead and get these stones in. You wouldn't have this many stones and then no stones over here. I wouldn't imagine it. Maybe you would. Maybe you would, but that's not super normal feeling. You know what I mean? So whether or not that could happen, I don't care. I want my paintings to be fairly natural looking so that the viewer isn't saying, that doesn't look natural. Even though half the photos you see, you know, of nature, like, man, that doesn't seem like that should be able to exist. You know, if I put that in the sky in a painting, nobody would ever believe me. You've heard that before. I've said that before. So I try to avoid that sort of stuff for that very reason, but you know, you do what you want. So I've got this light blue color mixed up. You'll see it's actually kind of thin. I thinned it down just a little bit like you would with the liner brush. That'll help it stick. I didn't want to rub this too much with a shop towel. There's not a lot of paint there. This is just rock canvas right here. See these little spots? There's just rock canvas, a little bit of shadow. So there's not that much paint, but I just didn't want to create mud. I knew this light blue would actually kind of create a muddy color. Now green is okay. There's a lot of green in the water, so that's not critical. But I just wanted a little bit of a smoother look, so that's why I thinned it down just a tiniest little bit. Little bit of linseed oil would be perfect for that. I'm not a big fan of paint thinner, as most of you know. So just a little bit of linseed oil is perfect. There. just these quick dashes of ripple, you know. Actually, a little bit on the solid side, a little more blue even. Just take a little bit of that blue. Now, I don't want so much blue that it looks weird. We don't really have a great deal of blue, although I may sneak a little, even of this, because I'm done pretty much up there. Even of this thinner paint, I might sneak a little bit of that. Oh, say, for instance, you know, just up in here a little. Just see, I can just dot it in there so that at least it has a feeling of going all over the place. See, a little bit of this, it should be okay to do this. Be careful. But just a little bit of a feeling of some amount of blue up just at the top, kind of that gold in there at the bottom. I don't know. I just want it to tie in. But like I said, this paint's thinned down just a little bit. That's critical. Otherwise, you're going to need to remove some of this paint with a shop towel. But I wanted to see these rocks underneath. Now I'm jumping right back up here, which I know is a little kind of a little funny to be down in the foreground and then jump back up. But here's the thing. I kind of left this area blank. So I'm going to paint a little bit darker black on it. But more importantly than that is I'm going to kind of smooth out my brush strokes. And what that'll do is it'll catch the light differently. And you'll not see that shine. And it'll look darker even though it's not. It's still kind of pretty well the same color, black. It's just what this is, a black, little green maybe. Brown, whatever. It's just going to be a backdrop now for my darkest tree, which is about to go in. So I just wanted to show you that. That's how you get that darker. I'm going to take a little quarter inch brush. Here's my paint at this point. I'm running out and I need to go get some more, but I'm almost finished here, so it'll be okay. And this painting is very green. Let me get a little green on that rock there. Ah, there we go. just saw that and wanted to do it. Okay, right up in here. I want to begin to just create now a couple of leaves, not too many, just some. And I like the idea of this kind of coming out from, you know, just these leaves popping out from this darker shadow area, maybe even overshadowing some of these rocks. That'll be good stuff. It's all good stuff. A little bigger, see that? A little bigger than those because it helps it to come forward. There's not a lot of distance in the painting. You're not seeing 100 miles away to this mountain range in the distance. This is just, you know, you can throw a rock and hit the other side of the little creek channel here. Well, lastly here, I'm just going to add in details with the liner brush. Not too many, at least in the background area. I'm going to try to keep it here to this side and maybe that side. A little bit of an interesting painting in that we don't have a whole lot of foreground, nothing really to pull a lot of grass up or anything like that. So less is more today. That's just the way it's going to be. Just a few good branches. You don't need to go overboard. I mean, you can go overboard if you want to, but it's not necessarily the thing to do. Just a few up in here. I don't want to go, again, too much. Some of these dark ones will show nicely over this kind of mid-tone. That adds a little interest here, even in the background area. Good. So it looks pretty decent, right? That's about where I want to be. And then, honestly, we could get in here and on ones like this, I can just pull in a couple branches, not so many, just enough. Even on my log here, if I want, I don't know. I don't really want it to look too detailed. I think you draw your eye to it too much. There, just another couple here and there. Now over here, this is actually where it gets a little bit more important in that I think I want some lighter ones across some of this dark, just like right under some of these. Lighter yet, just grabbing whatever light color I can find. I don't have much paint left. Don't need much paint. Well, that about wraps up this painting for today. Don't forget to check out our website, DVDs, and brush line. Thanks for watching. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Remember to subscribe if you're not already, and click the like button. That helps me out a lot. Stick around, watch a couple more videos, and stay inspired.